Hello, kids. Welcome to your social science class with your teacher, Aprajit. And children, let's start the chapter number 2 of our history class 7. So, the chapter is New Kings and Kingdom, AD 700 to AD 1200. In this chapter, we are going to read about few things. क्या-क्या चीजें पढ़ने वाले हैं हम? We'll read about the Palas, the Gujaras, the Pratiharas, the Rashtrakutas, tripartite struggle, the Rajputs, life and society under the Rajputs. Rajputs के अंदर में life कैसी थी, society कैसी थी. Then the Turkish invasion, causes for defeat of the Rajputs. The early medieval period was the period of the emergence of new dynasties in different parts of India. जो अर्ली मेडिवल पीरियड था वो उस टाइम पे नई नई डायनेस्टीज आई थी डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ इंडिया. दिस पीरियड सॉ द राइज ऑफ chieftains or landlords known as Samanta, Mahasamantas or Rana. With the passage of time, they acquired power and wealth and thus they established their own. अब इस टाइम पे ये जो राइज हुआ था लैंडलॉर्ड्स का, जिन्हें कि समंता, महासमंता और राणा कहा जाता था, उन्होंने क्या किया था? दे एक्वायर्ड द पावर एंड वेल्थ और अपने आप से स्टैब्लिश हुए थे देयर ओन किंगडम्स. उन्हें अपने किंगडम्स खुद से स्टैब्लिश किए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दरिद्र दुर्गा defeated the Chalukyas and laid the foundation of Rashtrakuta dynasty. जो दांती दुर्गा था उसने चालुक्यास को डिफीट किया, दांती दुर्गा ने, और राष्ट्रकूटा डायनेस्टी का फाउंडेशन ले. सिमिलरली chieftains like the Gujars and Pratiharas established their kingdom in Rajasthan. Gujars और Pratiharas ने अपना kingdom कहाँ establish किया? राजस्थान. A number of Rajput kingdoms also emerged. Among all the Rajput kingdoms, the Chahmanas or the Chauhans were the most prominent. और जो राजपूत किंगडम्स थे उनमें से Chahmanas या Chauhans जो थे वो सबसे ज़्यादा prominent. The Palas and Pratiharas were engaged in war so to secure control of the empire extending from Banaras to South Bihar. The Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas. ये Cholas, Cheras और Pandyas जो थे were the important kingdoms. ये तीन kingdoms बहुत important kingdoms. There were other important kingdoms like Utkal, Kashmir, Assam and Nepal. ये सब important kingdoms. The Palas. The Palas ruled over regions covering present-day Jharkhand, Bihar and West Bengal. पालास ने कहाँ कहाँ रूल किया? जो प्रेजेंट डे का झारखंड, बिहार और वेस्ट बंगाल है वहां पे पालास ने रूल किया. द किंगडम वाज फाउंडेड बाय गोपाला इन 750 CE with his capital at Pataliputra. और इनका कैपिटल कहाँ था? गोपाला का पाटलिपुत्र. He expanded trade with Southeast Asia Empire. Denapala, son of Dharmapala, also expanded the territory of the empire. Denapala जो धर्मपाला के बेटे थे उसने अपना टेरिटरी expand किया. There was great prosperity as founded by Dharmapala. The famous university of Vikramshila and Mahabodhi temple at Bodh Gaya were built during their rule. अब इसी टाइम पे जो विक्रमशिला यूनिवर्सिटी थी वो बनी और महाबोधि टेम्पल भी इसी टाइम पे बनाया. बुद्धिज्म वाज द मोस्ट प्रेवलेंट रिलीजन. द पालास वर ऑलवेज इन्वॉल्व्ड इन अ स्ट्रगल विद गुजर्स, प्रतिहारास एंड राष्ट्रकूटास. जो पालास थे हमेशा इनका स्ट्रगल किससे चलता रहता था? गुजर, प्रतिहारास और राष्ट्रकूटास, व्हिच वीकन देयर एम्पायर. जिस कारण जो इनका एम्पायर था पालास का वो कमजोर होता. Mahipala was defeated by Rajendra Chola. Rajendra Chola ने महिपाल को डिफीट किया 1023 CE, which led to the decline of the Pala dynasty. और यहीं से Pala dynasty का downfall शुरू. Rampala was the last ruler of Pala dynasty. The Gujar Pratiharas. The Gurjar Pratiharas were local officials who gradually carved out a kingdom in western India, Gujarat and Rajasthan. जो गुर्जर प्रतिहारस थे वो लोकल ऑफिशियल्स थे जिन्होंने धीरे धीरे एक किंगडम बना लिया. The Pratiharas came into prominence when their king Nagabhatta I defended western India from the Arab invaders. अब ये प्रतिहारस कब प्रोमिनेंस में आए, कब सामने आए, जब नागभट्ट I ने वेस्टर्न इंडिया को बचाया था अरब इन्वेडर्स. मिहिर भोजा was the greatest ruler of this dynasty. और मिहिर भोजा जो थे वो इस डायनेस्टी के सबसे great ruler थे, was the greatest ruler. He had conquered Kannauj. He was a devotee of Lord Vishnu and adopted the title of Adhivasha, which was inscribed on some of his coins. और उनको टाइटल क्या मिला था? अधिवासा का, जो कि कुछ कॉइन्स पे इंस्क्रिप्टेड था. The Pratiharas had the best cavalry in India. His son Mahendrapala was also a competent ruler. His successors were, however, weak. लेकिन महेंद्रपाला के जो सक्सेसर्स थे वो वीक थे. And in 1018 AD, Muhammad of Ghazni defeated Gurjar Pratihara's ruler. Now, fact to know, the Arabs used different names to refer the Pratiharas, the Palas and the Rashtrakutas. Arabs ने अलग अलग नाम दिए थे किनके लिए? प्रतिहारास, पालास और राष्ट्रकूटास. They called the Pratiharas Aljurs. ये अरब्स ने नाम दिए थे. प्रतिहारास को अल्जुर्स कहते थे. The Palas, Rumi and the Rashtrakutas, Malhar. The Rashtrakutas. अब हम पढ़ेंगे राष्ट्रकूटास के बारे में. The Rashtrakutas were subordinates of the Chalukyas of Karnataka. जो कर्नाटका के चालुक्यास थे उनके subordinates थे राष्ट्रकूटास. They rose to prominence in the 8th century under Dantidurga. अब दांतिदुर्गा कौन था? The founder of Rashtrakutas, who managed to overthrow the Chalukyas and set up a powerful kingdom in Deccan around modern Maharashtra with Malkhed as their capital. और इसकी capital क्या था? Malkhed. He performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha, which was thought to lead to the rebirth of the sacrifices as a Kshatriya. एक रिचुअल स्टार्ट किया था, परफॉर्म किया था रिचुअल जिसका नाम था, जिसे कहा गया हिरण्यगर्भ. और विच वाज, उससे क्या था कि ये जो रीबर्थ होता है, जो सैक्रिफाइस करते हैं क्षत्रियज अपनी लाइफ को, उनका रीबर्थ. द टेरिटरी ऑफ द राष्ट्रकूटास रीच्ड इट्स हाइट्स अंडर अमोघवर्ष. कृष्णल फर्दर कंसोलिडेटेड द एम्पायर. और कृष्णल ने आगे इस एम्पायर को और कंसोलिडेट किया. The Rashtrakutas fought against the Gurjar Pratiharas and the Palas in the north. और Rashtrakutas किससे लड़े? Gurjar Pratiharas and Palas से in the north, and against the Pallavas and Pandyas and the Cholas in the south. और south में Pallavas, Pandyas और Cholas. As they were great patrons of art and architecture, Kailash Temple of Ellora and rock-cut caves at Elephanta were carved out during their rule. और इनके रूल के टाइम ही, because they were very great patrons of art and architecture, so ये कैलाश टेम्पल अरोरा का और rock-cut caves जो एलिफेंटा की हैं वो उसी इनके रूल में बने. Govinda III and Amogvarsha were the greatest rulers of this dynasty. राष्ट्रकूटा डायनेस्टी के गोविंदा III और अमोघवर्षा बहुत बड़े रूलर्स. The Rashtrakuta rule in the Deccan lasted for almost 200 years till the end of the 10th century. और जो राष्ट्रकूटा का रूल था डेक्कन में वो कब तक चला? 200 years तक, till the end of 10th century. Next, tripartite struggle. What is this? What was this struggle? The struggle for power among the Gurjar Pratiharas, the Palas and the Rashtrakutas is known as tripartite struggle. Tri means three. Okay? So Gurjar Pratiharas, Palas or Rashtrakutas, inka struggle, the struggle for power. Many wars were fought to control the city of Kannauj. This was because it was situated at such a situation that whoever controlled Kannauj controlled the Ganga Valley, a very fertile region. अब ये जो वॉर था ये किसको कंट्रोल करने के लिए, सिटी ऑफ कन्नौज को कंट्रोल करने के लिए हुआ था। और ये क्यों हुआ था? दिस वाज बिकॉज इट वाज सिचुएटेड, ऐसी जगह पे सिचुएटेड था कन्नौज जहाँ पे गंगा वैली, और गंगा वैली वाज अ वेरी फर्टाइल रीजन. In the early decades of 8th century, Kannauj was ruled by Ayudha rulers. They were too weak in comparison to their contemporaries like the Gujar Pratiharas, the rulers of Rajputanas, the Palas, the rulers of Bengal, and the Rashtrakutas, the rulers of Deccan. ये जो Ayudha rulers थे ये weak थे. All of them had a tempting eye on Kannauj. सबकी eyes जो थी वो कन्नौज पे थी. कन्नौज को पाने के लिए everybody was very much, they wanted to have Kannauj with them. It resulted in regular conflicts among the three powers. और ये तीनों के बीच में regular conflicts होते रहते थे, wars होते रहते थे कन्नौज को conquer करने. This struggle continued for about a century in an uncommon and interesting manner. Kannauj was sometimes under one authority and sometimes under the other. कभी किसी के पास जाता था कन्नौज, कभी किसी के पास चला जाता. After about a struggle of 100 years, hundreds years के struggle के बाद, ultimately the Gujar Pratiharas succeeded in conquering Kannauj. और 100 years की लड़ाई के बाद finally Gujar Pratiharas के पास कन्नौज चला. The Rajputs. Next, the Rajputs. The number of Rajput kingdoms also emerged during this period. बहुत सारे Rajput kingdoms भी emerge हुए इस time पे. The word Rajput is taken from Sanskrit Raja Putra, means son of king. Raja का बेटा. They claimed that they were the descendants of the Suryavanshi sun god. और वो खुद को सूर्यवंशी कहते थे, सन गॉड. डिसेंडेंट्स कहते थे सूर्यवंशी. और द चंद्रवंशी मून गॉड. Some people call them descendants of the Central Asian tribes who settled in India after the Hun invasion. The Rajputs, however, claim themselves to be Kshatriyas or Aryans or those born in Agnikul. जो राजपूत हैं वो क्या क्लेम करते हैं? खुद को या तो क्षत्रिय बताते हैं या आर्यन, और या जो अग्निकुल में born. The prominent Rajput rulers were Tomars, Solankis, Chauhans, Parmars, Chandelas, and the Hadwalas. They established their kingdoms in different parts of North India. कहाँ establish किया उन्होंने? अलग अलग parts में North India के, and protected the land from the Arab and Turk invaders. The fact to know, the Rajputs are divided between the solar and lunar races, and these claiming to come from the great fire pit near Ajmer. The Rajputs' habits of eating meat except beef and other traits suggest both foreign and aboriginal origins. Now the Tomars. The Tomars rose to power in the 8th century. Tomars कब आए power में? 8th century. They founded the city Dilika, present day Delhi. अब ये जो तोमर्स थे 8th century में पावर में आए और उन्होंने एक सिटी फाउंड किया जो था दिल्ली का, जो आजकल की दिल्ली. They were small rulers of parts of Delhi and Haryana. They were defeated by the Chauhans. और उन्हें किसने डिफीट किया? Chauhans. The Chauhans or Chahmanas. The area of influence of the Chauhans was Delhi and Ajmer. जो Chauhans का area था वो था Delhi और Ajmer. The most important Chauhan ruler was Prithvi Raj Chauhan, 1179 to 1192 AD. It was during his rule that Muhammad Ghori attacked India. और इसी टाइम पे जब पृथ्वीराज चौहान थे इस टाइम पे मोहम्मद गौरी ने इंडिया पे अटैक किया. Prithviraj Chauhan defeated this invader in 1191 in the Battle of Tarain. Battle of Tarain में मोहम्मद गौरी को पृथ्वीराज चौहान ने डिफीट किया. but he committed a grave mistake. लेकिन एक बहुत बड़ी mistake कर दी. That what was that? He did not force to get Punjab freed from the invader. पृथ्वीराज चौहान ने फोर्स नहीं किया मोहम्मद गौरी को कि वो पंजाब को फ्री कर, पंजाब को दे दे. As a consequence, Muhammad Gauri attacked the very next year with due preparation and defeated Prithviraj Chauhan in 1192 AD at the same place. और इसका रिजल्ट क्या हुआ कि मोहम्मद गौरी ने नेक्स्ट ईयर अच्छे से प्रिपरेशन करके उसने फिर से अटैक किया और उसी जगह पे पृथ्वीराज चौहान को डिफीट कर हरा. It is believed that Prithviraj Chauhan was caught and blinded by Muhammad Gauri. पृथ्वीराज चौहान को मोहम्मद गौरी ने पकड़ लिया था और उसको ब्लाइंड कर दिया. He planned with his poet friend Chand Bardari to kill Muhammad Gauri because Prithviraj Chauhan had the ability to shoot his target even with his closed eyes. Now, पृथ्वीराज चौहान ने अपने फ्रेंड जो पोएट फ्रेंड था चंद बरदारी, उसके साथ मोहम्मद गौरी को मारने का प्लान बनाया, क्योंकि पृथ्वीराज चौहान की एक क्वालिटी थी कि वो अपनी बंद आंखों से भी टारगेट को हिट कर सकते थे. एंड ही सक्सीडेड इन इट, और वो जीत भी गए, सक्सेस भी मिली उनको. अनफॉर्चुनेटली अदर इंडियन किंग्स डिड नॉट हेल्प पृथ्वीराज चौहान, लेकिन दूसरे इंडियन किंग्स ने पृथ्वीराज चौहान की हेल्प नहीं की. एंड दिस लेड द इंक्रीज्ड इन्वेजन्स फ्रॉम द नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न frontier. The exploits of Prithviraj Chauhan have been written by Chand Bardari in the famous book Prithviraj Raso. You just read that biography or autobiography जब हमने पढ़ी previous chapter में, so we have read that Chand Bardari has written about Prithviraj Chauhan in his book Prithviraj Raso. This is Prithviraj Chauhan. Okay. Now the Solankis. The Solankis ruled in the region of Kathiawar and its surrounding area. सोलंकीज ने कहाँ रूल किया? काठियावाड़ में और उसके surrounding areas. They are also known as the Chalukyas of Gujarat, और उनको चालुक्य भी कहा जाता है, गुजरात के चालुक्यस. They built the Dilwara temple at Mount Abu and the Sun temple at Modhera. Next were the Parmars or Pawars. The Parmars were the rulers in Malwa with the capital at Dhar. वो कहाँ के रूलर्स थे? मालवा. They were descendants of the Agnivansha Rajput. वो अग्निवंश राजपूत के descendants थे. Earlier there were small feudatories of the Pratiharas or Rashtrakutas who declared their independence. They built the Neelkanteshwar temple at Udaipur. उन्होंने नीलकांतेश्वर टेम्पल बनवाया उदयपुर में. Raja Bhoj was the great Parmar king. Gahadwalas. The Gahadwalas ruled around Kannauj. Kannauj के आसपास उन्होंने रूल किया. Jaichand was an important ruler of this clan. Prithviraj Chauhan sought his help in 1192, but he did not succeed. Ultimately, he was defeated by Muhammad Gauri in 1194. Then comes the Chandelas. The Chandelas, with their capital at Khajuraho, ruled in Bundelkhand. Chandelas ने कहाँ रूल किया? बुंदेलखंड. The area between the Yamuna and the Narmada rivers. Kirtivarman was their most influential king. Chandelas का जो सबसे influential king था वो था कीर्तिवर्मन. They built beautiful temples at Khajuraho, और खजुराहो में बहुत सुंदर temples बनवाए. This is Neelkanteshwar temple. Now, the life and society under the Rajputs. Rajputs के अंदर में life कैसी थी और society कैसी? Administration. The political structure of the Rajputs was based on the feudal system. The king granted land to big zamindars who paid him annual grants. जो king था वो बड़े-बड़े जमींदार्स को land दे देता था, और वो जमींदार जो थे वो annual grants देते थे king को. Annual grants, tax and military help when needed. The king also gave pieces of land to the ministers and other officials for their services as their salaries. और जो king था वो बाकी मिनिस्टर्स और ऑफिशियल्स, कुछ ऑफिशियल्स को भी छोटा छोटा लैंड देते थे एज देयर सर्विसेज और सैलरीज के तौर पर. These lands were called jagirs. Lands को जागीर कहा जाता. The feudal head was called the zamindar, thakur, rai, etc. The duty of the feudal head was to collect revenue for the king and to obey him and to be present before the king in times of war with his entire army. जो फेडरल हेड था उसकी ड्यूटी क्या थी? रेवेन्यू कलेक्ट करना और किंग का कहना मानना, और जब भी किंग को जरूरत होती थी तो उसके पास अपनी पूरी आर्मी को लेके प्रेजेंट. द चीफ्स और फेडरल हेड्स often quarreled among themselves due to jealous and rivalry. जो चीफ और फेडरल हेड्स थे वो आपस में ही लड़ते थे जेलस के कारण और राइवलरी के कारण. These regular disputes brought unnecessary expenditure. Sometimes a feudatory became so powerful that he would easily declare himself independent. कभी कभी तो feudatory जो था, कोई feudatory इतना पावरफुल बन जाता था कि वो खुद को इंडिपेंडेंट डिक्लेयर करता. For example, the Rashtrakutas, feudatories of the Chalukyas. Chalukyas के feudatories थे ये. The Chandelas, feudatories of the Pratiharas. Sometimes a chief had been defeated in the battlefield but was allowed to keep his land in the form of a grant. There were many scholars and Brahmins in the state who were given the tax-free land as well as the rights to collect the revenue from the land. और ऐसे जो ग्रांट्स दिए जाते थे उनको क्या कहा जाता था? Such grants were called agraha and brahmadev grants. Now the society कैसी थी under the Rajputs? The king was the supreme in all matters. सभी matters में, इन matters में civil, political and military, इन तीनों matters में king जो था वो सबसे supreme. He looked after the welfare of his subjects. The king, his nobles and feudal heads led a life of luxury. ये तीनों जो है king, उनके nobles और जो feudal heads थे वो एक luxurious life जीते. They lived in beautiful palaces, wore costly clothes and jewelries. The architecture was beautiful and grand. The fact to know, the Rajputs called the foreigners as Malechas or outcasts. जो Rajputs थे वो foreigners को Malechas बोलते. In Rajput age, Varna system was the basis of social life. Varna system था Rajput age. Brahmins and the Rajputs enjoyed highest position and possessed the political power. दो जो Brahmins थे और Rajputs थे वो highest position enjoy करते थे और political power. Brahmins were their main advisors. They commanded powers because they conducted religious ceremonies for the king. और जितने भी रिलीजियस सेरेमनीज होते थे राजा के लिए वो सब ब्राह्मण्स परफॉर्म. लेटर कम्स द वैश्यास हु कंडक्टेड ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स. और वैश्यास जो था वो ट्रेड और कॉमर्स से वो कंडक्ट करते. द शूद्रास lived a life of misery and were exploited. शूद्रास को एक्सप्लॉइट किया जाता था और वो बहुत मिजरेबल लाइफ. द शूद्रास वर द अनटचेबल्स. ये कौन लोग थे शूद्रास? जो अनटचेबल्स. The Rajputs were courageous, loyal, generous, chivalrous, and patriots. They respected women and sacrificed their lives to protect them. और Rajputs जो थे वो women's की बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करते थे और वो अपनी लाइफ भी सैक्रिफाइस कर देते थे, जान भी दे देते थे उनको बचाने. The girls of royal families had a right to choose their husband in a swayamvar. The birth of a girl was not considered auspicious. और गर्ल का कहीं बर्थ अच्छा नहीं माना. The custom of sati and child marriage was common. Rajput women were very brave. They received high education. और जो Rajput women से वो high education लेती थी. They were appointed as the village head. Many Rajput women ruled the kingdom as a queen. और बहुत सारी राजपूत वुमेन्स जो है उन्होंने किंगडम पे रूल भी किया है एज अ क्वीन. नाउ द इकोनॉमी. एग्रीकल्चर वाज द मेन ऑक्यूपेशन ऑफ द पीपल. और लोगों का जो मेन ऑक्यूपेशन था वो क्या था? एग्रीकल्चर. The villagers were self-sufficient. Trade and commerce flourished well. इस time पे trade और commerce भी बहुत अच्छे से flourish किए. Skilled artisans produced various kinds of articles. India imported gold, copper, tin, and dates, wines, horses, and exported. Import तो ये चीजें करता था इंडिया, और export क्या करते थे? Silk, cotton, woolen clothes, spices, and precious stones. Metal working was common. Metals used commonly were, अब metals कौन से use होते थे? Copper, lead, brass, silver, and gold. The people were prosperous. Traders and merchants had organized themselves into to safeguard their interests. The wealthy people built rest houses and charitable institutions. जो wealthy लोग थे, जिनके पास बहुत पैसा था, वो rest houses और charitable institutions बनाए. They also laid out gardens and dug up wells for public use. और public use के लिए gardens बनाए थे और public wells भी. Religion. अब religion कौन कौन से थे इस time पे? Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism were main religious cults. The Rajputs were the followers of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. The Rajputs were the followers of Hinduism. Rajputs किसको follow करते थे? Hinduism को follow करते थे. Buddhism and Jainism declined due to the Turkish attack. जब Turkish attack हुआ तो Buddhism और Jainism का decline. Hinduism was divided into two sects. Hinduism को दो sects में divide किया गया था. The Vaishnavism and Shaivism. Besides, the people worshipped Mother Goddess Durga, a symbol of power. और किसकी पूजा की जाती थी? शक्ति के रूप में goddess Durga. In the south, a number of popular bhakti saints called Alvars and Nayanars flourished. और साउथ में बहुत सारे भक्ति saints भी आए जिनको कहा जाता था Alvars या Nayanars. The bhakti saints disregarded caste inequalities and laid emphasis on the Vedas. जो भक्ति सेंट्स थे उन्होंने डिसरिगार्ड किया कास्ट इनइक्वालिटीज का और उन्होंने एम्फसाइज किस पे दिया? वेदास. Their teachings became popular all over the country. Art and architecture. The best specimen of art are available in the magnificent temples built in this period. अब इस पीरियड में जो बहुत बड़े बड़े टेम्पल्स बनाए गए थे, that was the best specimen of art. The Lingaraja temple of Bhubaneswar, the Sun temple of Konark, the temples of Khajuraho and the Jagannath temple of Puri are worth mentioning in this regard. ये सब कुछ बहुत important temples, बहुत अच्छे temples बनाए गए. Most of the temples and forts had paintings depicting relevant scenes on the wall. और ज़्यादातर temples और forts में जो paintings थी वो उसके walls पे बनाई गई. Mural paintings and miniature paintings were in vogue. Later, these styles were picked up by the Mughals. अब इस style को किसने pick up किया? Mughals ने. The Jain monks and the Buddhists of Nepal. See, this is the Lingaraja temple and this is Jagannath temple of Puri. Then comes the education. The Brahmins were the chief persons who imparted education. The temples became the places of learning where the students belonging to the upper class came to study. अब कौन एजुकेशन इम्पार्ट करते थे? कौन एजुकेशन देते थे? ब्राह्मण्स. और ये जो टेम्पल्स थे ये प्लेस ऑफ लर्निंग बन गए थे जहाँ पे स्टूडेंट्स आते थे, अपर क्लास के स्टूडेंट्स आते थे पढ़ने के. They learned religious literature, mathematics and philosophy. The most famous centers of learning of that period, और फेमस सेंटर्स कौन से थे लर्निंग के? वर कांची, काशी, नालंदा, उज्जैन, विक्रमशिला, कश्मीर, मदुराई, श्रृंगेरी. Bhaskaracharya as an astronomer, Charak, Panini and Patanjali were noted scholars of this period. इस पीरियड के ये सब बहुत बड़े स्कॉलर्स थे. चरक wrote a book on medical science. चरक ने मेडिकल साइंस पे बुक लिखी. Panini did great work in Sanskrit and Patanjali was a great grammarian whose commentary Mahabhashya is an impressive study of syntax and the evolution of words. The famous literary work of this period were अब इस टाइम पे literary work कौन सी? Kathasarit Sagar, a collection of stories and biographies like Bilhana's Vikramanka Dev Charit, Chand Bardari's Prithviraj Raso, and Kalhana's Rajat Ranjan. Geet Govind was the beautiful poetry composed by Jaidev. जयदेव ने बहुत सुंदर poetry compose की थी Geet Govind. On the love theme of Radha and Krishna was also very popular. ये जो राधा कृष्ण के लव थीम पे गीत गोविंद जयदेव ने कंपोज किया था, it was very popular. Then Dandini, Dasakumar Charitra and Banbhat, Harsh Charitra and Kadambari were other famous authors. Now let's read some case studies here, children. The Cholas, about the Cholas. The Chola Empire was founded by Vijayala, who was initially a feudatory of the Pallavas. Pallavas का feudatory कौन? Vijay. It rose to prominence under Paranta, followed by Rajaraja Chola and Rajendra Chola. They ruled from later half of the 9th century. उन्होंने कब से रूल करना शुरू किया? Later half 9th century के till the beginning of the 13th century. The whole area around Tungabhadra was united and held as one state for over a period of 2 centuries. Under Rajaraja I and his son Rajendra I, Chola dynasty became a military, economic and cultural power in South Asia and Southeast Asia. Okay? During the period of 1010 to 1200 AD, the Chola territories stretched from the islands. अब Chola territory कहाँ से कहाँ तक stretched था उसका? From the islands of Maldives in the south to as far north as banks of the Godavari River in Andhra Pradesh. Rajaraja Chola annexed peninsular South India, including parts of what is now Sri Lanka, and occupied the islands of Maldives. Rajendra Chola sent a military expedition to North India that defeated the Pala ruler Mahipal. राजेंद्र चोला ने एक मिलिट्री एक्सपेडिशन भेजा नॉर्थ इंडिया में जिसने डिफीट किया किसको? पाला रूलर महिपाल. This is the Chola kingdom. Rajendra Chola defeated the Palas in West Bengal and controlled territories right up to the bank of the Ganga river. After this victory, he took the title of Gangaikonda Chola and named his capital city Tanjore as Gangaikonda Cholapuram. क्योंकि उसको टाइटल मिला था गंगाईकोंडा चोला का, तो उसने अपने जो कैपिटल तंजोर को गंगाईकोंडा चोलापुरम नाम दिया. The Cholas even had trade with Southeast Asia and southern China. The successors of Rajendra Chola continued to fight against the neighboring kingdoms. जो राजेंद्र चोला के सक्सेसर थे, उसके बाद जो आए थे, वो लड़ते रहे किसके साथ? अपने neighboring kingdoms के साथ. Resulted in the decline of the Chola Empire. Administration of the Cholas. The king was the head of the administration with a council of ministers to advise him. He often toured the kingdom in disguise और kingdom में अपने घूमते थे अपना भेष बदल. The empire was divided into several mandalams or provinces. These were further divided into Valandus and Nadus. Nadus were groups of villages comprising several urs or peasant settlements. Now, the village administration. Let's read about the village administration. The Cholas had a well-developed system of local self-government. Cholas का जो system था, वो था local self-government का system. The urs and the sabha or the mahasabha were the two assemblies. दो assemblies कौन सी थी? urs या जिसको सभा कहा जाता है, सभा और महासभा. The urs was general assembly of the villagers who owned land. In contrast, the sabha was an assembly found in villages where Brahmins owned all the land or Brahmadev grants. Parantaka's inscriptions found inside the temple at Uttaramerur describes the functioning of the sabha. उसमें inscription में पूरा लिखा हुआ है कि किस तरह से सभा function करती है. It operated through committees. It had different committees to look after various aspects of local administration. The Nagaram, as the name suggests, was an assembly found in towns and cities. Nagaram का मतलब नगर, town या city. Its members were mainly traders, merchants, and sometimes artisans. Now, the revenue. Revenue from land and taxes from trade were the chief sources of income for Cholas. Cholas का chief sources, main source of income क्या था? जो revenue आता था land से और taxes, trades. Land revenue was usually fixed at 1/3 of the produce. It could be waived in times of floods or famine. The kings carried out regular surveys of the land under their control to assess its yield. Land given to non-Brahmins or peasants was known as Velanavagai. जो land non-Brahmins या peasants को दिया जाता था उसे कहा जाता था Velanavagai. Land given to schools was called Shalabhog. Land gifted to temples was called Devadhan. क्योंकि temples को gift किया जाता था उसे कहते थे Devadhan. And land donated to Jain institutions was called Palichandam. So now comes the public works. The Chola rulers paid particular attention to public work. Chola rulers जो थे वो public work पे ज़्यादा attention देते थे. They built a network of roads. They also built a number of towns and beautiful monuments. ये सब उन्होंने public के लिए बनाया. They built embankments to prevent flooding and made special efforts to provide irrigation facilities. They dug wells. उन्होंने कुएं भी बनवाए. Built dams, constructed canals and channels to carry water to the fields. The rich Chola temples invested a lot of money in agriculture. जो rich Chola temples थे उन्होंने agriculture पे बहुत सारा money invest किया. There was a committee for proper maintenance of the irrigation canals. Next is the architecture. This is all the case study, children, about Cholas. The Cholas, being great patrons of art and architecture, made significant contributions in these fields. Architecture के field में उन्होंने बहुत contribution दिया क्योंकि वो art and architecture के great patrons. The big temples of Tanjore, present-day Tanjavur, and Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by Rajaraja and Rajendra Chola, are architectural and sculptural marvels. The main feature of the Chola style is the buildings of tapering story upon story above the Garbhagriha, main deity room. जो गर्भगृह होता है जहाँ पे जिसको भी पूछते थे जिस गॉड को भी मेन डेटी का वहाँ पे वो रखे जाते थे गर्भगृह में और उसके ऊपर टेपरिंग ऑफ स्टोरीज अप द स्टोरीज. द एंट्रेंस टू द गर्भगृह इज थ्रू अ लार्ज हॉल कॉल्ड मंडपम. और गर्भगृह में एंटर करने का जो रास्ता था वो था एक बड़ा सा हॉल होता था जिसे कहा जाता था मंडप. Another main feature of these temples is the Vimana or the grand topmost tower sitting upon these intricately carved stories. The whole area of these temples is surrounded by a gopuram. अब पूरा एरिया इस टेम्पल का जो सराउंडेड होता था वो होता था गोपुरम. High and decorated boundary walls. बहुत ऊंची ऊंची boundary walls होती थी और decorated होती. The temples are beautifully carved and decorated with the images and paintings of gods and goddesses. The Brihadeshwara temple in Tanjavur is the best example of a Chola temple. The style of temple architecture was known as Dravid. और जो temple architecture का जो style था उसे कहा जाता था Dravid. Literature. Language and literature also progressed significantly under the Cholas. They encouraged the study of grammar, astronomy, philosophy, art, etc. Many literary and religious works were translated from Sanskrit into Tamil, Telugu and Kannada languages. बहुत सारे लिटरेरी और रिलीजियस वर्क्स जो थे उनको संस्कृत से तमिल, तेलुगु और कन्नड़ा में ट्रांसलेट किया. कंबन wrote the Ramayana in Tamil. अब रामायण को तमिल में किसने लिखा? कंबन. Pampa, Ponna and Rana were the three famous Kannada poets known as three gems of the Kannada literature. Three gems of Kannada literature. कौन थे? Pampa, Ponna and Rana. The Chola rulers used both Tamil and Sanskrit in their official work. Now comes the trade and the commerce. Trade flourished through land as well as sea. Land और sea दोनों तरफ it may flourish. The merchants had trade with China, Southeast Asia and Western Asia. The traders were the members of guilds which provided its members more money to trade on a large scale. They also maintained caravans for carrying their goods which were armed to provide security to the goods being carried. और जो कारवां होते थे, जो गुड्स कैरी करते थे, उसको सिक्योरिटी आर्म होते थे वो, क्योंकि जिससे कि उनकी सिक्योरिटी रहे, गुड्स की सिक्योरिटी रहे. The traders were called as chettis or chettiars. Fine children, I hope you have understood whatever has been read till now. Society. अब हम पढ़ेंगे सोसाइटी के बारे में. The king and the members of the royal family occupied the highest position in the society. अब इस टाइम पे सोसाइटी में जो हाईएस्ट पोजीशन होल्ड करते थे वो किंग और उनके मेंबर्स, जो रॉयल फैमिली के मेंबर्स थे. द ब्राह्मण्स एंड द मर्चेंट्स आल्सो हेल्ड अ हाईली रिस्पेक्टेड पोजीशन इन द सोसाइटी. ब्राह्मण्स और जो मर्चेंट्स होते थे उनकी भी एक अच्छी पोजीशन होती थी सोसाइटी. Even some Brahmins were allotted tax-free lands called the Brahmadev. The women held a respectful position in the society. They were imparted high position. The peasants and the laborers were often very poor. और जो peasants और laborers होते थे वो बहुत गरीब थे. And Shudras were treated as untouchables. Education. The Chola kings gave grants to educational institutions. The Brahmins taught the pupils in the temples. Sanskrit and Tamil were the main languages taught in this period. इस पीरियड में कौन कौन से दो मेन लैंग्वेजेस थे? संस्कृत और तमिल. The Chola rulers encouraged the study of grammar, astrology, psychology and other sciences. Now the irrigation facilities, agrarian expansion. The agrarian expansion was remarkable during the Chola period. They not only reclaimed barren land and made it fit for cultivation, but also undertook irrigation measures. The temples were rich, temples बहुत rich थे, so their resources were invested in agriculture. तो उनका जो resources था, वो कहाँ पे invest करते थे? उसको agriculture. As the population was increasing, it became the chief concern of the Chola rulers to augment production on land. They also carried out an elaborated survey of land in order to fix the government's share of the land revenue. अब की population increase हो रही थी तो elaborated survey land का करते थे और in order to fix the government share of the land, share कितना share government को जाएगा वो fix करने थे. And in case of failure of crops due to drought or heavy rains, the land revenue was exempt. और अगर कभी क्रॉप नहीं हुआ ड्यू टू रेन, बहुत ज्यादा हेवी रेन्स हुई या सूखा पड़ गया, तो ये जो रेवेन्यू है उसको एग्जेम्प्ट कर दिया. The Cholas had a strong army and navy. This helped them to extend their power and Indian culture to the islands of the Southeast Asia. The Chola army had three main divisions. अब Chola army के तीन divisions थे: the elephantry, cavalry, and infantry. It is estimated that there were 150,000 soldiers and 60,000 elephants in the Chola army. The horses were imported. अब horses को कहाँ से import किया जाता था? They were imported from Arabia to strengthen the cavalry. Okay? The Chola inscription. The Tamil copper plates inscription depict land grants, conquest and events. जो तमिल copper plates inscription है वो क्या डिपिक्ट करते हैं? लैंड ग्रांट्स, कॉन्क्वेस्ट और कौन-कौन से इवेंट्स हुए. Many inscriptions were found on the walls of the temples. Temples की walls पे बहुत सारे inscriptions मिले. These inscriptions provide us with a lot of information of the Chola dynasty. Some of these are shown the royal seal of the dynasty. Now comes the Turkish invasions. The Arabs were the first Muslim invaders to set their sights on the subcontinent. अब जो सब कॉन्टिनेंट पे नजर किसकी थी? अरब्स. जो अरब्स थे वो फर्स्ट मुस्लिम इन्वेडर्स. However, they did not get too far into India. The Turks laid the foundation of Muslim rule in India. तुर्क थे, उन्होंने मुस्लिम रूल का फाउंडेशन ले किया इंडिया. They raided the subcontinent in the 10th century AD. Muhammad of Ghazni. Muhammad of Ghazni, 998 to 1030 CE, also called Muhammad Ghaznavi, was a Turkish conqueror who established his empire in Ghazni, present day अभी जो अफगानिस्तान है, पहले वो गजनी था. He made 17 raids into India between 1000 to 1027 CE. इस बीच में मोहम्मद गजनी ने 17 बार रेड किया इंडिया. मोहम्मद had no interest in building an empire in India. कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं था उसका एम्पायर बनाने का इंडिया. He only wanted to collect resources for his strugglers against his enemies in Central Asia. बस उसको resources collect करना. He targeted many wealthy temple cities such as थानेश्वर. अब जो वेल्दी टेम्पल सिटीज थे इंडिया के, वहां उसको टारगेट किया उसने. कौन कौन से थे? थानेश्वर, मथुरा, कन्नौज एंड सोमनाथ. He plundered several temples and carried away immense riches from the subcontinent. The plunder of the Somnath temple of Gujarat was among his most important raids. सबसे important raid जो था उसका वो था सोमनाथ टेम्पल. His forces looted the temple of all its wealth. वहां से उन्होंने सारा wealth, सारा जो wealth था वो लूट लिया था. He used some of his wealth to beautify the city of Ghazni. और जो wealth यहाँ से लूटा था उसको अपनी city, जो गजनी city था, उसको beautify करने के लिए use किया. Mahmud was also responsible for sending a scholar called Al-Baruni to the Indian subcontinent. और एक scholar Al-Baruni को इंडियन सबकॉन्टिनेंट में महमूद गजनवी ने ही भेजा. अल-बरूनी's account किताब हिंद provides of information about this period. और महमूद गजनवी के टाइम का जो पीरियड था, ये जो टाइम पीरियड था, ये किताब हिंद, अल-बरूनी की किताब हिंद में मिलता है. मोहम्मद गौरी. मोहम्मद गौरी was the ruler of Ghor. मोहम्मद गौरी जो थे, हमने पहले पढ़ा महमूद गजनवी के बारे में, महमूद गजनी. And now we'll read about Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori कहाँ के ruler थे? Ghor. His aim of invading India was to acquire wealth and to spread Islam in the region. In 1196 AD, he captured Multan. अब 1196 में क्या कहाँ capture किया? He captured Multan, Sindh and Lahore. When he crossed Punjab, he was opposed by Prithviraj Chauhan. लेकिन जब वो पंजाब क्रॉस कर रहे थे तो किसने अपोज किया? पृथ्वीराज चौहान, the Rajput ruler of Delhi. In the first battle of Tarain in 1191, Muhammad Ghori was defeated. पहले बैटल टरेन के फर्स्ट बैटल में मोहम्मद गौरी हार. However, in 1192, he came back to revenge his defeat. Since Rajput failed to form a confederacy, Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated and killed in the second battle of Tarain. और सेकेंड बैटल ऑफ ट्रेन में पृथ्वीराज चौहान को मार दिया. After this remarkable success, Muhammad Ghori defeated Jaychand of Kannauj in the Battle of Chandiwar in 1194. अब पृथ्वीराज चौहान को मारने के बाद ही जो रिमार्केबल सक्सेस मिली, मोहम्मद गौरी ने जयचंद, कन्नौज के जयचंद को भी डिफीट किया बैटल ऑफ चंदवार. Muhammad Ghori appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as his viceroy in India. और मोहम्मद गौरी ने कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक को वायसरॉय बनाया इंडिया. Qutbuddin Aibak became the first Muslim Sultan of Delhi after the death of Muhammad Ghori. मोहम्मद गौरी के डेथ के बाद कुतुबुद्दीन जो थे वो मुस्लिम सुल्तान बने दिल्ली and established the Sultanate of Delhi. Muhammad Ghori is rightly called the founder of the Muslim Empire in the Indian subcontinent. Fact to know, in the first battle of Train, Prithviraj Chauhan's army had 300 elephants, whereas the Turkish army had none. पहला बैटल जो हुआ ट्रेन का उसमें पृथ्वीराज चौहान के पास जो आर्मी थी वह उसमें 300 एलिफेंट्स थे, लेकिन टर्किश आर्मी के पास एक भी नहीं. Many of the Turkish soldiers had never seen an elephant before. Now, the causes for defeat of the Rajputs. Rajputs की हार का क्या कारण? Disunity among the Rajputs was the biggest reason for their defeat. जो उनके बीच में disunity, unity की कमी. The Turks were militarily superior to the Rajputs. The Turks had better planning and strategy. Turks के पास better planning और strategy भी थी. The Rajputs constantly fought amongst themselves and did nothing to equip themselves with better weapons and tactics. राजपूत जो थे वो आपस में ही लड़ते रहते थे. उन्होंने कभी ये नहीं सोचा कि खुद को इतना अच्छे weapons और अच्छे tactics से equip करें. The Rajputs had no standing armies. They had to depend on their feudal heads. The Turkish invasion failed to arouse national consciousness in India. The masses did not really cooperate the rule. The Turks were inspired by a great religious enthusiasm. They believed that their victory would help in spreading Islam in India. Now, children, what are the important facts which we have learned in this chapter? The three kingdoms, the Palas, the Pratiharas, and the Rashtrakutas, were in constant struggle to acquire control over Kannauj. Kannauj को पाने के लिए इन तीनों में लड़ाई होती रहती. The Rajputs, a warrior clan of varied descents, continued to dominate the Indian political scene between 750 CE to 1200 CE. Political structure of the Rajputs was based on the feudal system. Feudal system पे based था political structure Rajputs. Varna system was the basis of social life under Rajputs. The Brahmins were the chief person who imparted education. Education कौन impart करते थे? कौन पढ़ाते थे? Brahmin. They not only performed religious ceremonies but also taught the people. In South India, the Cholas emerged as the most powerful kingdom. South India में कौन the powerful kingdom tha? Cholas. The Arabs were the first Muslim invaders to set their sights on the subcontinent. However, they did not get too far into India. Mahmud of Ghazni invaded India 17 times. कितनी बार invade किया? 17 times between CE 1000 to CE 1025. But his sole purpose was to plunder the wealth of India. लेकिन उसका एक ही पर्पस था कि इंडिया से जो वेल्थ है वो लूट लिया जाए. नाउ लेट्स डू द एक्सरसाइज हियर चिल्ड्रन. ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप क्वेश्चंस. टेक द राइट ऑप्शन. Pala dynasty was founded by Dantidurga, Gopala, Kirtivarma. Pala dynasty was founded by Kirtivarma. Take it. The tripartite struggle was for control over struggle हुआ था Delhi, Ajmer, Kannauj. The ruler of Chola dynasty was Mahmud of Ghazni, Muhammad Ghori, Rajaraja. The ruler of Chola was Rajaraja. The smallest unit of the Chola empire was Valanadu, Nadu, Mandalam. It was Nadu. Gopuram was a क्या था Gopuram? Tower, wall, gateway. It was a gateway. Now, match the following. Regional. What does regional mean? Regional means based on or limited to a certain region. So, match this. Expedition. Expedition means a long journey undertaken for a specific purpose. Transition. A period of changing from one condition. Okay. Tripartite struggle. Tripartite struggle is a conflict between three parties, refers to the nearly 200 years struggle between the Palas, the Rashtrakutas and the Guja Pratiharas for the control over Kannauj. Mandalam. What is Mandalam? Mandalam, one of the provinces into which the Chola Empire was divided. And Nadu, a unit of administration consisting of representative assemblies. Fine, children? Okay. Now, children, let's do the true and false here. Write T for true and F for false. Gopala was the first ruler of the Pala dynasty. Yes, this is true. Write down T here. Malkhed was the capital of the Pallavas. No, this is false. Right. F. The Rashtrakutas were subordinates of the Chalukyas of Karnataka. True. Write down T. The Vijayala was the founder of the Chola kingdom in the 9th century. False. Prithviraj Chauhan won the second battle of Tarain. False. He lost it. Now fill in the blanks. The Palas spread over the entire regions of Palas ने कहाँ expand किया था? Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. The Tomars rose to power in 9th century. कब आए थे Tomars power में? 9th century. Prithviraj Raso was written by Chandabardar. The Ramayana in Tamil was composed by Kamban. The Cholas had a well-developed system of administration. Fine, children? So, this was all in this chapter. I hope you have understood the chapter, and once again, please read the chapter. फिर से इस chapter को अच्छे से पढ़िएगा so that you understand more and you are able to do the exercises well. So, stay tuned for the new video. Your teacher Rajita will be back with a new chapter for you. Till then, stay happy, stay blessed and keep learning. Bye.